Yeah, Brian Faust. We got a lot we want to get into. So actually, I just had your teammate, Michael Phillips, on here, and he's the 100 meter. We talked about that. You guys were basically on. I did not realize Garden State. You're still on Garden State, right?
Yes. Yes, technically, yes. At the moment.
We can get into that as well. But yeah, I did not realize that was one of the top track teams basically in the US. So that was really cool. You guys got a stacked squad when I went and checked it out from top to bottom. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, man, how are we feeling right now?
Yeah, pretty good. And heavy block phase right now, training. Getting ready for the indoor season. Should start maybe in a couple weeks for me, hopefully. But had to like delay it a little bit, maybe to the end of January, February. Had a Achilles, PRP shot, some injections over the fall, so my ear's like a little backed up more than normal. So.
Yeah, those PRP injections definitely becoming more popular. I know a basketball player I follow, it was they were looking at it more of like an Eastern thing. Like they weren't really bringing it into, I mean, he's in the NBA, of
Mhm.
course, and that stuff is super regulated. So as
Yeah.
far as that goes, how is that stuff like completely everything's legal now with all that stuff?
Yeah. I actually went to the head USATF doctor for that. So yeah, it is completely legal. I mean, obviously, if he's administering it, it would be a problem if it was obviously illegal. But yeah, I think even I don't know if stem cells and stuff are legal or not yet, but I think it's on the path maybe to being. But I'm not sure. There's a lot of restrictions with WADA and USADA. Like they're very like you have to follow our rules, otherwise you're banned. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the more line I was getting at there was like that the peptide stuff. I know that's like a huge.
Oh, yeah, peptides, yeah, definitely illegal. Definitely illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't do
Okay.
that. Yeah. If I did that, it'd be I couldn't be able to run for like 4 years, I think, or something like that.
Gee, is it 4 years for peptides?
Probably it's like 2 years just for missing three tests. If you use what's on their banned list and then I guess say you didn't and you get popped, they're gonna give you the full ban. If you like fess up to it, they might give you 3 years.
Yeah. And
It's
that
really
was I know that the NFL just pretty much completely took Adderall off the list. Is that legalized in track and
No,
field?
no, no, that's not either, actually. A lot
Yeah.
of a lot of people have TUEs. It's like hey, I have ADHD, so I'm going to be taking my Adderall while I'm working out, but I have ADHD. But they get to use it, and then certain people don't. Track's weird, man.
They can use it in competition as well.
It's a great question. I don't know the specifics of that. They
Mhm.
might be allowed to because they have the TUE, but sometimes no. Sometimes like you just like fill out this form, basically send it in to the drug people, and they'll be like, all right, yeah, we'll let you take that in the off season while you're not racing, not competing, and then let the drugs, the steroid get out of your system while you're recuperating from what illness or whatever it was. Obviously, the steroid can be for, training. So,
Right.
but so
Yes, man. It's super interesting. I talked to him. I said I think I said Michael. I think it's Mason Phillips.
Mason, okay, yeah. When you said Michael, I was like, God, I don't know who that is. But
Yeah,
uh,
Mason. I apologize. Yes,
no,
yeah.
Mason's a really cool guy.
Yeah,
He's super
great dude. And we touched a little bit about on the whole. I mean, because of course, I mean, literally in any event in track, it's going to be prevalent. It's going to be an issue, but especially in these higher intensity sprinting events, it's going to be unfortunately a lot more prevalent. So that stuff always interested me. Like the whole Balco scandal was a really good documentary.
Man,
Um,
that's really interesting. I'm surprised you know what that is. That's wild. Like I haven't even seen the doc, but I do know coaches who were in the Balco thing, and it weirds me out too, honestly, because it's like you admitted steroids, but you're the head coach at a SEC school. You know what I mean? Or you're you were in it, but you coach a bunch of professional athletes. Like, well, that doesn't really seem. There's a sketchy line in track and field, I would say, but. I'm not part of those programs or anything. So,
Right. I mean, it's like, and we talked too about like the enhanced games. Like,
mhm.
of course, it's cool to see people run these crazy times or have these insane athletic feats, but it kind of takes away the coolness of it because it almost makes you think the normal person. We watch the Olympics and we know most of the time, like a normal person could not achieve a lot of these athletic feats, even if they work extremely hard. With the enhanced
Yeah.
games, it's a little different because it's like, okay, you're adding a chemical, of course. But speaking of normal people achieving athletic feats, I talked to him about the 800 meter and how basically there's like this theory that the 800 meter is special because a lot of it is predicated on just like I don't want to say mental toughness, but it really is like it's a very tough event, and you're also in a tough event. People kind of go back and forth about what's the hardest event, the 400 or the 800.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that, and how did you land on the 400?
Yeah, it was kind of difficult, man. For me, I think it's always been kind of like an adverse thing for most people to see me run the 400 because it's like, well, he doesn't really look like the typical sprinter. I started off distance running because my parents both ran in college. My mom was a distance runner. My dad ran at Penn State. He did more short sprints, kind of like what I did. But I did cross country, I did the mile, I did the 800 in high school, and then I had a sprints coach all through high school, and so he kind of like slowly worked my parents into being like, "Hey, Brian's actually kind of a sprinter. Like he can actually do these shorter events." So I gave it my first full go, really, my senior year of high school. Um, I ran really well, won states, was a top indoor runner, and then kind of moved into college. I was like, I hope I can just stay with this. But all through college, every coach I had told me to move to the 800, every single one. Like, there wasn't one coach that was like, man, you really got this thing in the 400. They were like, no, no, you need to step up. Um, and when I did try to step up, I couldn't handle the training. The training is so, so difficult. Yeah, like when people ask what's harder event, it's not a question. The 800 is the ranges you have to be able to compete at that event at like the professional level is insane. I could never do it.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, the 400, no doubt, though, is definitely not one that people look to as an easy event, of
no,
course. So,
no,
can you
definitely
talk
not.
about the difference in the training for the 400 between the 800?
Yeah, 100%. I'm good friends with Josh Hoey. I don't know if you know him. Just set the world record in 600 meters. Yeah, he's super great. But like he'll tell me his training, the stuff he does. The difference between the 400 800 is the 400 you do a lot of speed work. You do a lot of like tempo aerobic work, but it's never to the amount that an 800-meter runner will do. And they do a lot of threshold work. They do a lot of like they'll go up and go down, right? Like I know Josh said he ran 70 miles a week during the fall. I maybe do 10. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, maybe. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Maybe 15 miles a week in the fall sometimes. But that's like the highest I'd ever go. He kills the mile. Like he's a 329 15 minute runner.
Yeah.
It's the ranges that you have to be able to run the 800, you have to have such strength, like be able to break four into the mile. It's very different. But the 400-meter training is still very, very tough in its own right. Like most people would tap out pretty quick. Like they would be like, nah, I don't want to do this. This is just punishment. You know what I mean? Like it's not enjoyable. But I like it. I have fun. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that was really interesting what you just said. You said you're in the fall, you're running 10 to 15. See, I thought it was typically more for 400. So, what do your training blocks in the fall kind of look like?
yeah, so I do right now I'm doing 2 days a week of like high volume and then 2 days a week of heavy intense sprinting. Um so like yesterday I did three broken thousands, so that's 3,000 meters. So that's not even 2 miles. Warm up, cool down, I'll probably hit, 2.5 miles, whatever. But like that's one of my heavy days. My other heavy day will be like a lot of timed runs where I'm just, working on just kind of increasing my fitness, doing like 2 minute run, 90-second run, 60-second run, 60-second run, 2 minute runs, just longer runs that just get me fit really. But then say I'm doing speed day, I'm doing like sleds, I'm doing bounding, a lot of bounding, acceleration work, hill sprints, things like that. Work on your acceleration and then your top velocity, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Those hill sprints are definitely no joke. That'll separate the boys from the men, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. That is interesting though, because yeah, I mean the 400 is obviously a sprint. Now the 800 is considered, it's not like a sprint, but it's not like a long distance event, right? It's considered like a
Yeah.
mid distance.
Yeah, mid distance. Yeah, mid D, that's what they call it. But I mean, most people are starting to call it a long sprint. I mean, I don't know if you've ever ran track or in your life what your background exactly is. I saw you play basketball, but
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
middle school was the farthest I went in track.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't blame you. I mean, if I could play basketball too, I would. You know what I mean? But like they'll go out in 49, 50 seconds through 400, and a lot of people that's their PR. Like that's as fast as they can run, and they'll run that easy, and then they'll keep going. That's why I say it's a sprint because they're running at such a pace that I'd say 99.999% of people in track in the world can't do. It's only a couple people that can do what they do at that level. It's really really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
it's super cool stuff. And when we talk about like the difference in like I mean you mentioned you might not fit the typical 400 build or look or whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
but the 800 is extremely diverse in builds and looks and
Oh yeah.
everything. But yeah, so talk to me a little bit about that, because you're not going to be doing the same exact type of strength, power, output work that a 100-meter guy would be doing, but you're still, obviously, this is a very athletic event, the
Yeah.
400. So talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think my strength training, it's it's very, very similar to what probably a 1-2 guy would do. It's a lot of Olympic lifts. I'm doing a lot of cleaning, a lot of step ups, a lot of like single leg movements. Um, it's really cool. I work at a gym called P3. It's like sports science. I don't know if you know it. A lot of basketball players work out there. It's pretty big. They do a lot of like combine testing just to see like how forceful you can be, how impactful you are on like one leg, two legs, vertical jump, stuff like that. So I get to see a lot of that information while I work out, which is really cool. But yeah, it's a lot of heavyweight but you're moving as fast as you can. You know what I mean? Like when I'm cleaning 200 pounds or 220 pounds, I'm trying to like rip it off the floor. You know what I mean? Or even step ups, or single leg lunges. Like I'm trying to load as much weight as I can and then drive up out of it, which translates directly to the track.
Yeah. Track and field is becoming more and more, it seems like every year of like this super, we got these extremely like thousands of dollars cameras. We're recording these guys off their starting blocks.
Yeah.
We're getting breaking down the biomechanics of it.
Mhm.
How much of that do you like to get into? And then how much of it are you just kind of like, hey, I'm going to go out here, put the work in, and we're going to show it on the track?
Yeah, honestly, I think technique and stuff is super, super important and it really should be preached. But I think like over analyzing like Christian Coleman's start or whoever start it is isn't going to get you where you want to go if you're like an aspiring athlete. Like if I watch that, 20 times, it's not going to do much for you. You know what I mean? Because you have to go out there and have the strength in your body, insert, your hips, uh, all types of muscles to hit those angles that they can, you know what I mean, to sprint at that level. So I think it's really cool that a lot of people are putting out more content, of speed and power because it translates to more sports and track, you know what I mean? Like MLB players are doing speed work now. NBA players are doing it in their off season. NFL players obviously do a lot because they run more. But it is cool to see, and I like it. But I haven't really, never really been big on it just because like my coach will give me cues while I'm doing it. He'll record something for me and we'll watch it together real quick. But I mean, I might not be posting it, but you do want to break it down a little, especially when you're coming out your drive phase and coming up. I think it's important.
Yeah. Yeah, I think track and field is another reason I kind of got drawn to it within the last couple of years. I mean, it's
Mm.
entertaining in general, but I think there is kind of like that fine line between over analyzing, like you said, but also knowing in your mind that like, okay, every second here counts. Like you have to, you don't really have the ability to mess up even like in body posture and how you're expending that energy. So you got to be cognizant of all these things while also putting in that just that brute strength work. So yeah, man. So take me
Yeah.
back to we kind of left off in college here now.
Okay.
They wanted you to run that 800-meter, but you stick
Mhm.
with the 4. So take me through your time at Purdue, Kentucky, how all
Mhm.
that was.
Yeah, man, I loved Purdue and Kentucky. Had a really, really good time there. Some really good coaches. Yeah, I mean, I think I started off my freshman year, or sorry, sophomore. I went to Villanova for a year. I kind of I had to transfer out of that. But yeah, my first year at Purdue, it was really tough, man. That was my first year at a really big school. Like, I wasn't used to that type of fall training and, the work and all the races over the course of the season. Like, you run from January to June, right? And you got to be in peak shape. It was really difficult for me like physically. But it was really cool to see like how I progressed and like how I was able to compete against some of the best people in the nation. So it was awesome. Yeah. Trying to think. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you're looking for exactly, but the sprints coaches, they were pretty good. And I made NCAAs there and the year before, but like NCAAs will take 48 to regionals. So that's the first round. And then they take 12 to NCAAs from
Right.
like the East. So the year before at Villanova, I was maybe 60th in the East, and I wasn't ranked enough to even make the meet. The next year I was like at Purdue, I was probably 16th or 20th coming in, and then I qualified out of that, which for me was wild because the year before I was running 47 seconds, and then the next year at Purdue I was running 45 seconds, which is like an elite, elite mark. In the NCAA, it's very, very competitive. So it was like I was just like my whole playing field just shifted. Like it was just different. Like I was in a different space and I didn't really even understand where I was at, but it was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, 45. I mean, for people again that don't realize that's actually I'm in West Virginia here, and the WVU does not have a men's track team, but
Yeah.
Marshall does. And Marshall just I think the record was just broken last year, I believe, for the 400 men's. And I think he ran like a 45-4 or something, maybe. I don't quote me
Okay.
on it, but yeah, so 45 for obviously the people that don't follow track, that is of course the very and I mean the 2 second shave as well in what a year you said?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I went from 47.20 to 45.80 at Purdue, and I was 19. You know what I mean? And then I
And
dropped.
what was that like training? Who do you accredit that to?
I accredited it to the coaches at Purdue, some, and then me just being like I was just being hungry and working my tail off, just trying to honestly I wasn't only on like 60% or 70% scholarship at the time at Purdue, so I was trying to get a full ride. So I was really working for that, man. I wanted to make sure that I was getting stipend checks and all the things that come with being one of the better kids on the track team. But the weight room there, man, was so tough. Like we're lifting, squatting 3 times a week, just plyos, power. And then on the track, I mean, it's just like it was the workouts we were doing were just crazy. Like they were just so brutal. To this day, I don't know how I made it through them, but like it was just like doing stuff like that and getting your mental to a place where anything's possible, and then you just go out there on race day and just attack. And that's kind of how I progressed because every time I stepped out, like I was never going to be the favorite, never going to be the guy that anybody expected to win, but I'm just stick my nose in it and see what I can do.
Yeah. And how long, because you mentioned they wanted you to move you to that 800. How long did that last for? Did you run any 800s in an official met or
They
event?
had me run. Yeah, yeah. So they did have me run one at Purdue. It was at Drake Relays, and they had me run against a lot of like some of the best in the country, and it was like 39 degrees, sleeting, and like my team, they put me in like where it was like so Drake Relays, you'll do like just a bunch of relays, no open events. It's like so it was like a Swedish medley, it's like 200, 200, 400, 800. And they got me sticking like second, and I'm racing like some very, very like talented runners, and I just did awful. Like I
Yeah.
just like they probably split like 148. A couple guys, some of the good guys split 152, and I split like 155, and that's pretty slow. Like 155 is slow. You know what I mean for a college. Like you don't want a 155 guy on your team
Yeah,
trying
but I mean, for somebody that's not specialized in the 800, that's actually a respectable
to be
mark.
to be fair. I was a state champion in the 800 meters. I ran
Yeah.
like a 152 in high school. So like 2 years later, I guess they thought like, yeah, he should be able to do it. You know what I mean? Like he should.
Yeah.
But I think it's a whole nother level of fitness once you get to college. Like in high school, yeah, I could do it, but once I got to college, it was just like it's 150 isn't good. It's 140. You need to be in the 140s. You know what I mean? I was never there. Um but at Kentucky they did try to push me into that just because I didn't think they thought I had the foot speed to compete like at a high level in the 400. So,
I mean, and of course that we're, basically what we're getting into now is like, you go to Kentucky,
mhm.
you obviously continue to prove I don't want to say like doubters, but like the little inklings of, hey, maybe this kid isn't fast enough, and you continue to kind of just set your mark. You become an All-American there, all SEC. Talk about that experience.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Coach Green, he's the head coach there. let me come in and do my master's. Super grateful for him. Um, I think the training was different. It was a little bit more refined in a way than Purdue maybe at the time. I had a little bit of younger coach when I was at Purdue, but Coach Green had been around for a while, coached at Arkansas, Purdue, and then Kentucky. So it was just a lot of race, like it was a lot of race modeling in practice, getting myself ready to go and run, my rhythm in the race. And I think that's why I excelled a lot there, and he got me really fit. So like I ran 45:40 my last year there. And was like 13th at US Championships outdoors. So that was like obviously a really big deal for me. I was splitting like 44:20 on the relay. Um, we got second to Florida and in the 4x4 at SEC Outdoors. We broke the SEC record as well as them. They won. So we both broke it. So I was on like the highest level of relay team that like the SEC had basically ever seen at that point, which was awesome. Like the people that were on my team are like one was an Olympian, you know what I mean, for Trinidad and Tobago. Um, Two others have run for USA. So just like the guys that I was with, the guys that I was around, everyone was, super, super hungry. And like every meet we went to that was big, like they were super dialed, super focused, super like, let's go kill these guys. Like we're not losing a 4x4, like we're not losing a meet. Um, and we really didn't. The only real races we lost were SECs to the best team in collegiate history, and then at the national championship. Like it was nuts. Like the guys that I got to surround myself with, train around, were next level. And I think that's what pushed me too. Like when I was at Purdue, I was kind of the near the top of the best guy. You know what I mean? I wasn't the best, but when I got to Kentucky, I was nowhere near the best. Like, you know what I mean? I had to work for everything I had, and that's kind of I think why it paid off for me, and that's why I improved. I think I dropped half a second while I was at Kentucky, so it was really really big for me.
Yeah, and you talk about these big meets. What are the nerves like going into a big meet like this? Or are you just like you said at Purdue, you're not even thinking about it. You're just
Oh, man, I mean, for sure, you're thinking about it. I mean,
mm,
I think for me, it's always good to get a couple races into the season, and then my nerves start to go away. But when it comes to like an SEC championship, I was always super nervous because like I mean, I've seen the best guys just not make it out the prelim to the final round. You know what I mean? Because they weren't as dialed and as focused as some other dude that, you weren't expecting, but the SEC is the SEC. There's so many Olympians, so many world championship level athletes there that can't really ever count anybody out, you know? Like you can't. You got to go into each round like ready to go. So, um, I think that's what kind of has helped my nerves some because I mean, when you go overseas or when you're at World Championships or you're at a US Championships, like the nerves are there and it's something you have to be able to like, dial back and, understand.
yeah, just kind of channel those nerves into your
Yeah.
performance, I think.
You do,
Um,
yeah. If you can't, it'll show up. You know what I mean? Like you can see when someone's like, man, he's nervous. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah. Yeah, and you actually, so you're on this legendary 4x4 team at Kentucky, and
Mhm.
so by the time you get to Team USA, you have experience being on legendary 4x4 teams
Yeah.
because that team you were on was freaking loaded. So
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about that.
Yeah. Yeah. The I mean, the Kentucky team obviously prepared me for any relay that I could run, right? Um, and I think my first experience on Team USA, as most people know, didn't go well. Um, they subbed in, Noah Lyles, like over me, a guy who had never run the 400. I was the 400-meter US champ, and they put him in over me. And it was just brutal, man, because like I had the relay coach come up to me, and he's supposed to be like the US guy, like, man, like I know everybody. I know everybody. He walked up to me and said, I don't really know who you are. I don't know your background. And I was like, okay, you could have looked it up. Like it's not that hard to find.
And
You know what I
the
mean?
same
Like, yeah. So that was brutal. And then it was my first time at the World Championships, right? And I did poor. I did really bad. And then the other guy in Team USA did bad as well. So we both didn't make it out the first round of World Indoor Championships. Um, And so that really stunk. And then you wait around for 2 days, and then you haven't run. I hadn't run a 4x4 since college, which has only been 6, 7 months, like not that far out. So I was like, oh man, like I'm for sure like they're gonna pick me on the team, right? But then when it came to race day, um, just just wasn't selected. I guess I wasn't good enough, or from whatever their standards were. But um, I think it's tough because Team USA, there's so many good athletes, so many talented people, um, that if you have a bad day, they're gonna hold it against you, and they're gonna use things against you that might not really be in your control, or maybe it was in your control and you just messed up. But I think it's tough, but you got to just keep using things to keep pushing you forward. And I think that's what led me to the next year and being able to actually run on the relay team in China and come away with a gold medal instead of a silver medal. So it worked out.
So let's actually back up a little bit real quick. So
Yeah.
talk about this whole experience with Team USA.
Mm,
Of course, there's in anything in life, there's going to be some politics, but you can't really
yeah.
focus on that. It's just more, but high competitive environment.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
The,
So, oh, go ahead.
no, no, the politics is brutal though. I mean, say like I think you'd be surprised at how it goes down though. It's like you show up to the meet, like the call room or the warm-up area, and you got every agent that's there, that their athlete, or every coach of those athletes. And me, I was a small time. I didn't even have an agent. I didn't have my coach is like an NAIA coach, so a smaller level of college coach. He couldn't afford to be out there like the other big professional coaches or university coaches. So I was there by myself, and I didn't have anybody in my corner being like, "Hey man, Brian's still ready to go," or Brian's, he's fit, like he's still, he'll be fine. And the politics, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I've seen kids show the relay coach like clips of themselves just to try to get the coach to put him on. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's difficult. I mean, it's difficult. You really need someone there vouching for you when you can't vouch for yourself almost, you know?
Yeah.
So it's different. Luckily they have a new relay coach who's really nice. But yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. I don't think I actually haven't, and I've watched a lot of interviews and stuff too. I feel like that stuff doesn't get talked about a lot. That's really crazy.
No, never.
I
I
mean,
mean, well, a lot of times people don't want to talk about it. I mean, they're a little scared too, or, like, I don't know, they just want to like they want to stay in the good graces of the relay coaches. They want to stay in you know what I mean? You don't want to piss off the guy that's the head relay coach. Thank God he's gone now, because I probably maybe wouldn't be able to say that. You know what I mean now? Because then it'd be like he might have a bias against me, Like, um you just because I mean they can take, thousands of dollars out of your pocket. Like I got benched for no allows, and it took, I don't know, 5 grand out of my pocket, probably, maybe more if we would have won, which we probably would have. You know what I mean? Like put a
yeah,
60-meter runner on. You know what I mean? Like you're not probably gonna win a world championship with the guy who don't focus on that. But that's how the cookie crumbles.
that's crazy, man. Yeah, I mean, you essentially got coaches lobbying for these athletes, like in literal politics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, like
Mhm.
right there. Yeah, just barking their ear off, like, hey, he's good, he's good. You know what I mean? Like,
That's
but
wild.
yeah.
But nonetheless,
Mhm.
you come into, I believe, so you got that 2024 season,
Mhm.
and you won the 2024 USA Indoor Track and Field Championships, correct, in the 400.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, and then you qualify or you get selected to go to Glasgow.
Yeah, Glasgow. Yeah, yeah. That's where I didn't get selected for the 4x4 team, but I ran uh for Team USA in the 400 meters. Yeah.
Right. And then now we're in February 2025, and you get the wild card when you drop a 46 400.
Mm.
And what's really cool about this was, and that gets you a spot in China to
Yeah.
go in the World Indoor. And of course, now we know you want to talk about that now a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think for me, my whole off season last year, like I was just really like just like focusing on indoors. Like I really, really wanted to run super well and just like show people that I am, really, really talented. I'm not a one hit wonder. I'm not a one race, one off type of guy. I knew that the IAAF World Tour, like they're having a bunch of meets if you win, a couple meets, you can get the wild card. Sorry. So that's what my focus was, and I didn't do well at USA's. I got fourth. You need to be top two, obviously, to make the team. Fourth is still great, but you want to be top two and whatever. But so I got fourth, had to hop on a plane the next day, go to Madrid, was there for 4 or 5 days, and then I won that race, thank God, and then got my wild card. But yeah, it's definitely difficult. It's not like an easy thing to do. Like it's not, that doesn't happen all the time. I think that's why the outcome in China was so different because they'd never seen three guys podium because usually you can't. You know what I mean? You only have two slots unless someone's a world champion or you win the wild card. But when you win the wild card, you got to be in. I was in Serbia for a meet. I was in some small town in Germany, Karlsruhe, which was a great meet as well, and then Madrid. Like so, I was bouncing around all over the place, trying to get points and try to fight for my spot, in Nanjing. So.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that traveling aspect of it? How you balance the traveling, the training, the performance, and all this.
Yeah, luckily I have, probably the best coaches in the world around me. They write my scripts, my workouts, my training plans. So when I'm going over there, I have all that stuff already ready to go. My agent, who is my coach, luckily, so he can kind of, he knows a lot of people over there. So when I have like 6 days to kill before a meet, I might, I was in Belgium last year and I was training on where the national team worked out, and that was amazing. You know what I mean? Just like having people that can get you to places where you need to be and you're going to be okay and you're going to be able to have the things you need to keep training and keep progressing while I was in Europe maybe for 3 weeks, in winter last year. And then I was in Europe again in July and June last year for over a month. Like it's just, you spend a lot of time over there, but you just have to be able to, focus and still get your work in while you're competing against some of the best.
That's a tall task having to balance all that. And then of course, like you said, you're literally going against like the best of the best in the world. Do you like the traveling? Do you go and tour things and everything?
I mean it depends. I mean when I have like a little, but you kind of don't get to do a ton. You know what I mean? Just see a couple things to head back. Like I like to keep it more business than it is like you know, like a vacation because if I'm over there and I'm enjoying myself more than I am focusing on the work, then it's not going to be what I want it to be. When I'm dialed in, I'm focused, I'm recovering, I'm resting. It's a lot of walking over there, trying to see some, basilicas or churches or whatever it is. But if I have a day or so, I'll walk around, enjoy, but not as much as I would hope. Like if I could go back, I probably would do a little bit less because like I was already doing a little bit more. Like I spent a couple days in Dublin a year or two ago, and I was just walking around everywhere trying to see stuff, when I shouldn't have been. Like should have been focusing on my race. But it's fun. So
These are very cool experiences, no doubt. But I think a big thing that people try to keep at the forefront is you got to keep the main thing, and also it's all going to be there when you're done too. So
yeah,
you're always going to have time to go do that stuff.
yeah,
Um,
exactly. And I know where I would go and where I wouldn't go now. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, that place wasn't that nice. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
so it's cool. You kind of get to understand how to travel in Europe a little bit more, how to get around easier, what airlines you would fly, which ones you wouldn't. But yeah,
Yeah. So I guess to kind of come towards the end here, you get kind of a little bit of an upset with you walk away with the silver and a gold. The gold maybe not as much, but
yeah, yeah.
the silver definitely was a bit of a shocker. I feel like to some people, and that obviously has to do wonders for your confidence and kind of reaffirming that belief you already had in yourself. So running these two events specifically, I want to talk about the silver. You got, what was that like leading up to it, and then afterwards, how was that feeling?
Oh man, I have a photo on my Instagram. I'm laying on the ground, and like I'm completely exhausted. Like everything I had, I think for that race, it really was like a really awesome moment for me. I thought I probably should have won the race. Obviously, as an athlete, you want to go back and you want to, win. But for me, getting silver was, obviously the biggest accomplishment I've had in my lifetime. Um, the the trials of those 2 days were tough, though. It's like you run around at 10 a.m. and then you run another round that same day at like 8 p.m. Then you go home, go to sleep, or you go back to your hotel, whatever, go to sleep. Then you got another round at 8 p.m. So it's like 3 rounds, 2 days. And each round you're trying to get the best lane draw you can. With indoor track, it's all about lane draw, where you're out in the track. Um, and so that was, I mean, it was just like I feel like that was like a state where I was super locked in, I was super focused. And I look back on that race and I left everything I had on that track. Like I went out as fast as I ever had through 400 meters and 300 meters. I was like 32.7 through 300, which is for me was flying, during the race. Um, so I really don't. Yeah, I mean, I look back at it and I'm just happy I was able to do that and be a part of the history that was the sweep because that was really cool and I don't know if we'll ever see that again exactly happen, but you know what I mean. But like I knew I had the competition in that race was really tough. Like Morales was the world record holder in the 400 and he was in like lane two. Christopher Bailey is probably top 5 or 6 all time in the 400.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I just saw a post about it actually, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So CB was, yeah, he was. I mean, he's crazy. He's such a good runner. Ja'Cory, who won USA Outdoors, was in lane three, and then I think lane four was Attila, who was the second fastest European. So like it, I mean, the field was outstanding, and to be able to beat some of those guys, at that level was awesome. I mean, like, yeah, my confidence for those couple weeks after, man, was it was on 10. Like I never. I don't think I've ever been so confident after a race. Like I knew I could do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's and you kind of talked a little bit at the beginning about like those how important those lane draws are, and a lot of people don't realize like these prelim, these heats almost the
Mm.
decided lane draw like it's at funky times sometimes. You got the 10 a.m. Then you'll have one at like 12 or whatever, and then you'll have one like you said at 8 at night. So
Yeah.
not only are you dealing with these weird circadian rhythms now that are you might be messed up from your normal training, you're
Yeah.
also in a completely different country.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um,
In China, I mean, it's dude, the first couple days of being over there, I felt like I was hit by a bus. I mean, it's 8 a.m. What time is it right now? 5:44. It'd be 5 a.m. right now there. So it's like, you get there a week ahead because you want to adjust to their time system because it's so different. Like the first couple of days are so bad. So it's like certain people over there who are racing may have an advantage over you because they're more that's their daily. That's not my daily. You know what I mean? Like it really is. The travel's tough with the either Europe or if it's Asia. I mean, it's brutal.
Yeah. And to wrap it up here, we got big things coming up. I know we already talked about it a little bit, but what's life looking like right now? What's the training looking like? What's the schedule for competitions?
Yeah, I mean, life just lifting 3 times a week, training 4 times a week right now. Like I said, heavy block. Things are going really well. I'm really liking where I'm at. Hoping for a really, really big season. I think this will be my best season so far. Um, and then competitions ahead. I should run the 300 at Clemson at the end of the month. So hopefully can show fitness there and then head over to Europe maybe for a couple races before US indoors. So that's kind of my plan, my hope, my goal for the indoor season. And then outdoors, I don't have any meets or anything set up yet, but hopeful to run in some really big meets. Last year I was supposed to go to Kenya, so hopefully I can go back there. Nairobi looks like a really fun meet. So yeah, I'm super excited. You know what I mean? Like feel like I'm in a really good spot right now.
And real quick before we end up, can you talk about for people that may not know, what are these training blocks? Like, of course, you're trying to peak at a certain time, but like
Yeah.
these 3 days that you might be like recovery days, rest days, what are you doing on these recovery days? And how does this training block differ from like an off-season training block?
Yeah. So I'm in kind of more of like a pre-comp block. So Monday's my power day, right? So I'll go to the weight room. I'll do heavy power cleans, hang cleans, whatever it is, step ups and plyos, stuff like that. Some rehab work as well. And then I'll go out to the track. I'll sprint. That'll be my Monday. So I'm doing a lot of sprinting, 50s, wickets, or it's like a 1080 T Apex. It's like a resistance machine my coach has. We do a lot of that. And then Tuesday, I'll pretty much just run because that's my hard day. So I did three broken thousands, so 3,000 meters worth of volume. We're doing 200, 400, 200, 200 times three. So that's a lot of volume. Wednesday, and like I said, like today's my off day, right? So I went to the sauna, I went to the Cairo, and then I did like my strength day lift. So it's my off day, but I'm still lifting, like I'm still working out. And then tomorrow I'll do an upper body lift, another speed day, and then Friday, Saturday will just be like Friday's another tough running day, and then Saturday's usually like a jog on my own, whatever. That's kind of to flush the legs. And then Sunday's usually always off. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it is a tough, like a tough like schedule, I guess, for working out and lifting, but um, you got to be able to do that at this level. So,
Yeah. Oh gosh, no doubt, man. I mean, any Olympic level, world level, and we're not even talking about the top finishers. We're talking about all the guys in the field.
yeah,
That's got to be your life. It's a grind, man. So,
yeah.
uh, yeah. Hey, thank you so much for taking this time and joining me today. It was great talking to you. And anything you want to shout out before we end off here?
Oh no, man, I don't got no shout outs right now. But I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Got it, man. Yep. Thank you so much for taking the time, man.